Welcome back to the Between the Rallies podcast. This is episode 6, and I'm your host, Kyle. This episode is releasing a few days late because I've been slammed all week. I got a new job. I got a new dog. So let's get right into it. My new job is the sponsorship coordinator / director here at the Flying Pickle in Meridian and Nampa. These are like our local premier indoor facilities. So I'm getting the chance to work with a lot of brands and local businesses on court sponsorships and whatnot. It's been a lot of fun. And then I got a new dog. So yesterday I went out, 2 days ago, I drove out to Burley. It was about 2 hours away and rescued a cute little white border collie mix. His name's Pete. He's going to be my new running buddy. So I've been dealing with a little puppy running around the house. So been super busy getting back on the podcast train. Have a very special guest coming on next week, so I'm super excited about that. So let's get right into it. In the bag. So this week I hit a lot of paddles. There was a lot of paddles that came to the house this week. They've all been very good. So I'm just going to talk about 3 that I hit this week that I thought were pretty exceptional. The first being the Enhanced Turbo MPP. This is a foam paddle that is only going to be $99. And honestly, at $99, this is an insane value. So far, honestly, MPP for me has been better than EPP as far as the way I'm playing. I get a little more juice out of this than the EPP version. They have an EPP and an MPP version, both retailing for $99. My main right now is still that Speed Up Tide, which is MPP, so I'm kind of fond of the way that it's feeling. It's got a hollow kind of thunk to it. Plays extremely well, good power. Was able to hit big drives with it. Resets were still good. Control at the net was great. Honestly, there's almost no negative I could say.
Some people call it other things, but I just feel just the scenes. Good job getting it.
My dad is rooting for the Seahawks because he says he has no choice.
This is a very easy paddle to recommend at $99. I would recommend this to anybody that is budget conscious and looking to, honestly, if you're Gen 3 looking to go into foam, this would be a great jumping off point. $99 get you into that Gen 4 paddle. Super easy to recommend. Enhance knocked it out of the park again. I mean, after the Duo coming out with this at this price, you're almost competing with each other. The Duo does have a different feel. It's a more plush, that like dense foam feel than this. This is more of a hollow thunk feel, but a solid buy at $99. All right, the next paddle we're going to talk about is from Flick, formerly known as Body Helix. They rebranded as Flick. I think that was a great move for their marketing, as the paddles really have their own identity now. Once they started doing these Flick paddles. So this is the F3, and the F3 is a little different. The 3 being that it's a triple core. And what that means is they use 3 different densities of foam. And what this is going to do is give you kind of a consistent feel across the face versus having that one piece of foam where obviously the middle versus the outside, you have a much different feel. And it works. I would put this, it's not like an F1 as far as like power. Like the F1 was kind of like a rocket launcher. This is definitely probably 2 or 3 steps down from that, but it's not lacking power in any way. It was extremely forgiving. I got into some pretty bad spots with it and was still able to get the ball back over the net. It's very maneuverable. The hybrid is very maneuverable. They did do a really good job again with the handle. I've always been a fan of their handles. Talking with Fred, he was, big tennis star, so he's pretty fond of handles, and he modeled the handles off like a Wilson tennis racket. So they've always killed it on the handles. This is a great paddle from Flick. They're going in the right direction here. I think this is probably their best paddle by a long shot. The F1 was great because it was just so powerful, and it was cool to see what they could do with foam. But now being toned down, this has more control, retains a good amount of power. This is definitely a player's paddle that I could recommend to a lot of people. So those were the two main paddles I was using this week, along with my Tide, which is still currently my main from Speed Up, which I got more time on the hybrid with that one. I had been playing the elongated. I decided to play the hybrid because I saw a few other reviewers actually preferred the hybrid to the elongated. What I will say is it's definitely a little more maneuverable and still maintained all of the attributes I liked. So it makes sense that the hybrid is so popular. Honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with any of those shapes in the Tide. That is going to be a very good paddle from Speed Up. Lastly, a paddle that I just got sent from a brand, Mavericks. So Mavericks sent me the Havoc 16 way back before I ever reviewed a paddle. I don't even know if I was on a podcast yet. I might have just started doing a podcast, but they sent me the Havoc 16 Power, and it was one of my favorite paddles. That shape, the unique cutouts, it shifts that balance point down, and it feels a little heavier in your hand. And that was kind of what set me on that path of like falling in love with like the slice caps. So I was really excited to see they came out with another paddle. This paddle was actually co-engineered with Justin from Pickleball, etc. So anything he's willing to put his name on, you know that it's going to be a solid paddle. Just got it in the mail today. It looks great, and I'm excited to swing it. The Havoc 2. So Matt took a long time. Matt's the owner. He was a firefighter, might still be a firefighter, but he took a long time before he came out with the next paddle. He wanted to do something different. He didn't want to just release what was coming out. So he did take his time and worked with Justin, and they're pretty confident that this is going to be a paddle we all like. I'll get some initial impressions on this as soon as I can get to a court because I'm very excited. It feels really good in hand. And again, I love this shape. It's pretty similar to the Selkirk Tesla shape. Obviously, Mavericks had it first, so might have been borrowed from them. But looking forward to getting some reps on this paddle. I'll let you guys know probably next week my initial impressions on this. All right, let's get into Around the Net. So the big news this week and last week, the MLP has drastically changed. Challenger's gone. Most of you, what was Challenger? Honestly, no, but I think this is a good move. I don't know many people that watch Challenger. No offense to them. They're all still great players. So now there's only one league. The only thing that worries me is I do feel like this is going to dilute. I don't know if dilute's the right word, but with everybody in the same league, I think we're going to see a lot more blowouts because Premier and Challenger have combined. I think some teams are definitely going to be stacked in the comparison to others, at least in the beginning. I'm sure we'll see some shift and some balancing over, the next season or two. But I think this first season, we're going to see a lot of blowouts. That's just my prediction. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Drop it in the comments what you think is going to happen. If you thought dropping Challenger was a good move or if they should have kept them separate. Another thing in the pro scene that's going to be exciting is we're going to see a few new paddles debuted here by their pros. We have Deckel playing with his Vapor Power 2. You have Anna Lee that'll be playing with her Aurelius from Franklin, which means golden in Latin. And then the Rachel Rohrenbacher, she obviously signed with Friday. She was playing the Fever 2, but she's going to be, the Aura is the paddle she will be playing with on the pro scene. That's another budget foam paddle that, it's good enough for the pros to play with. We'll see how that goes. They should be sending them out to reviewers shortly. That's another one that's exciting to see. So it'll be fun to see the kind of the paddle shakeup in the pro scene here in the next couple tournaments. All right, let's get into mail call. So Tito Chop, goals for 2026. Well, my goals have changed now. Getting this new job, my goal now is honestly to hopefully find a way into pickleball full time sooner rather than later. So my goal, I would say by 2027, is to be ready to go full time pickleball. That is my new goal. And physical fitness goal, I want to run 2 marathons this year. One of my old Navy buddies reached out to me and asked me to run the Marine Corps marathon with him. So I'm going to run that one, and I plan to run one more. So that's the goals for 2026 is get to pickleball full time and 2 marathons. All right, last section, smash or pass, MPP. Absolutely smash. I think I've hit about 4 MPP paddles, and I've loved all 4 of them. I think MPP plays a little bit, and it could just be the audible, but I think it plays a little bit better than EPP as that central core material. So I'm definitely team MPP right now. It's got a kind of, and I'm usually not a fan of that the hollow feeling, at least with Gen 3s. Gen 3s, that hollow feel was not my favorite, but these MPP paddles do feel a little more hollow. They've got this deeper thunk to them, but they've been playing so well that I'm definitely right now leaning towards MPP being a better core material than EPP. So smash on that. We're still seeing some Gen 3 paddles coming out. Most recently, Head just dropped a paddle that not only uses, it's kind of a different take on Gen 3. Somebody in Discord, actually, it was great. They called it Gen 3.75 because they used a poly honeycomb core, and then around it is EPP, and then around that is EVA. So they're doing like a double ring around it, and like a big ring, not like just the outer ring like the trampoline, like the diving board type construction, but like an actual. I'll put it up on the podcast what it looks like, but they got a whole lot going on. We'll see how that plays. And it's also got like a forged carbon face with like some weird metal flake looking, sort of gives that F&B vibe. So we'll see how those play from Head. Head hasn't released a paddle in a minute, so it's interesting that they didn't go full foam and they tried to do something a little different. Might play good, we'll see. But as far as Gen 3s in 2026, I'm a hard pass. Like, let's just move on. Everybody just get on board with foam, and let's start innovating with foam. All right, and that's all I have for you guys today. If you found any value in the podcast, please share it with a friend. Helps me grow the channel. Next week, special guest. He is also a veteran that plays pickleball. He's a lot funnier than me. It'll be a fun guest to have. So definitely stay tuned for next week's episode. I hope you all have a great week, and I will catch you between the rallies.